Greetings, Flyers fans, and welcome back to Clear the Ice, a Flyers postgame show here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network with your boy, Matty B in the house on the call. And the Flyers had a fast and furious finish to the game, could not muster the final tying goal. They fall tonight 4-3 to the Canadiens, thus not being able to kind of build on any momentum that they might have had against the Wild. Welcome back to the program. It's great to be back. And let's kind of just start into this game. I missed a lot since I last did this show. It's Flyers made a plethora of personnel moves since the last time we spoke. Jet Lechenko is now on his way back to Major Junior Canadian hockey with the Guelph Storm of the Ontario Hockey League, as he did only 4 games. So the Flyers actually still have 5 games to kind of kill on that 9-game tryout. Alexei Kovasov gets the start tonight, called up from Lehigh, as the Flyers are obviously now trying to tinker with their goaltending conundrum. Cam York placed on the IR for at least 2 weeks with an upper body injury. Emil Andre recalled back to the team. And yeah, so a lot going on with your hockey team. And they had a win yesterday, but as I said, they could not muster the furious comeback to get to 4-4, to at least get a tie and get at least a point out of this thing as they fall tonight 4-3 to the Canadiens, now dropping to a pitiful 2-6-1 for the season. 5 points still for the Flyers as they continue to be the Flyers. And this game was typical Flyers. You know, this game had no offense from the Flyers for about three quarters of it. Questionable goaltending from the rookie making his first NHL start in Alexei Kovasov. And just lifelessness. But then, as the Flyers have been doing lately, a little third period magic, come down from 4-1, get it to 4-3. And, I guess maybe fell within about a minute, of trying to tie this thing and sending it into overtime. But the Flyers do not tie it, and they lose 4-3. Let's take a look at this game in a stat glance, as the Flyers did outshoot the Canadiens for a total of 26-24, but just a real wonky way on how they got there. The power play 0 for 3 for the Flyers tonight, 1 for 2 for the Canadiens. The Flyers blocked 12 shots on the night. They took the puck away 9 times and gave the puck away a season high 22 times on this game. Flyers have now given the puck away in their own zone 131 times this season. Good for about 14 and a half a game. That ain't going to get it done. That is not getting it done in any stretch of the way. Imagination. Offensive giveaways in their own zone. Suspect goaltending and lack of offense is pretty much sums up the 24-25 Flyers through at least 9 games as they fall tonight. Again, 4-3. On the night for the goals, Nick Suzuki, his third. From Dretch and Struble at the 10:42 mark of the first period to make it 1-0. But Travis Sanheim would get the team back about 7-8 minutes later as he would tie the game at 1. His second from Paling and Hathaway at 17:24. That was your score heading into the first intermission. It was 11-9 shots for the Canadiens in that first period. In the second period, Brendan Gallagher, Canadiens kind of blew it open a little bit. Couple of young rookie mistake goals led in by Kovasov, but you're going to have this pretty much from now until the Flyers figure out who their goalie is. Because when you're looking at the Flyers goaltending situation, you got Sam Ersson, who's got 1 year or 1.5 years of NHL experience, and then that's it. Everyone else is pretty much classified as a rookie. So you're going to be going through this type of stuff every night, no matter who the Flyers get in there. That's just the situation that the Flyers goalies are in. Brendan Gallagher with his third from Melix and Anderson at 4:48, make it 2-1. Cole Caulfield makes it 3-1 at 12:48. His eighth, Suzuki and Matheson with the assists. Jake Evans, his second from Gallagher and Savard at 16:01, and that made it 4-1 Canadiens. And all the energy and all the life that was in the Wells Fargo Center heading into this game was pretty much rightly sucked away going into that second intermission as the Flyers looked once again dead in the water, and that they would come out and maybe lose this game 6-7-1. It's the blueprint. It's the shoddy defense. It's the shoddy goaltending. It's the lack of offense, the lack of any kind of substantial offense other than perimeter offense. And those pitiful giveaways, 22 on the game tonight. 22 giveaways. That is a number that an NHL hockey team should not. I mean, not. Any NHL hockey team should be committing 22 giveaways in one game against a team, and no offense to all you La Habanese fans out there, but you should be giving the puck away 22 times in Montreal Canadiens. It's just not, it's not hard to find out why they're struggling. It's not hard to find out why they're 2-6-1. Those numbers that I just gave you are the reasons. 22 giveaways ain't going to do it, man. It's just not going to do it. Into the third period, but the Flyers, as I said, a little bit of life late. At 17:48, Sanheim's second of the game, is third on the season from Farabee and Delorier, make it 4-2. Travis Konechny on a nifty pass from Owen Tippett around a wraparound. Well, it wasn't a wraparound attempt, but he went around the net and then wraps it back out to Konechny, who was standing on the goalie's blind side. Beautiful goal, actually. A really nice goal to make it 4-3. It's Konechny's fifth from Tippett and Sanheim. And as I mentioned, the Flyers then, that was with the goalie pulled. They went back to the pulled goalie, fast and furious, just could not find a way to get it done. And the Flyers lose tonight 4-3. And I mean, it was nice to see the way they came back yesterday. It was nice to see how they got that spirited win against a team that's, let's face it, more superior than they are. And then tonight, they're back in their old ways of not scoring goals and giving up giveaways and getting suspect goaltending. So 4-3 is your final. But Kovasov gets his opportunity, and we've talked about this situation before. Kovasov, who was signed to his ELC last September, then sent back to the KHL, kind of like a mystery around why they would sign him to an ELC when they had, at the time, Carter Hart and Sam Ersson. Why rush this situation? Of course, the theory, or my theory, is that the Flyers, they had some inside knowledge about what was coming with Carter Hart, and they were trying to sort of, pad the nest, so to speak. I don't know what was said to Kovasov when he signed that contract. I don't know if an agreement or a guarantee was made that he would be in the NHL by the end of last season. Well, things did go down the way the Flyers and a lot of us feared, and Carter Hart's situation got out of control, and Kovasov was then pulled in, was sent to Lehigh Valley, never made it to the Flyers. Reportedly had a hard time assimilating to the ways of a North American man or whatever, and did not like being here. But now I guess the theory is he just didn't like being in the AHL, and that allegedly, again, this is a theory, that the Flyers somehow hoodwinked him into coming here and not putting him in the NHL. Over the summer, of course, he said he wasn't going to come to camp. He wasn't going to report because he allegedly wanted to stay in the KHL. Again, a lot of rumors surrounding that the Flyers reneged on some sort of agreement. They got him to come. They made a compromise. They got him to come to camp. I believe one of the baselines of the compromise was, we'll reevaluate your situation as it pertains to getting to the NHL at the end of October. And, well, here he is. Gets his opportunity at the end of October, makes his NHL debut tonight. And again, we can kind of go through it, and we will probably this week in nauseum about his performance. I was okay with it. He's quick. That kid's quick in the net, man. I like seeing that. And that's going to be a great tool for him going forward. He just has to get used to the speed of the NHL game. I mean, that's just really the long and short of it all. A lot of the goals tonight, two of them at least, he was kind of just too patient, waiting for a shot to develop. And then when the shot didn't develop and it was pass, he was out of position. So he's going to have to start getting a little bit more used to the speed. But I think he's a better option for Fedotov going forward. We'll see what the Flyers do there. But Kovasov getting his start tonight, making his NHL debut. Potentially now, maybe he has his pathway to the NHL, and maybe he stays, and we go from there. But goaltending will be a problem this year. This goaltending is going to be another step in the building process, or the rebuilding process, as the Flyers are going through it. But I mean, it's good to see him play. I ain't gonna lie, it was nice to see him play, and I kind of figured it was coming. I don't think the Flyers were too high on Fedotov and his 5-hole problems that he was having. So I really figured it was just a matter of time before Kovalsov got his shot. And that shot came tonight, and it was unfortunately in a loss, 4-3 to the Canadians. Let's now talk a little bit about the other moves that happened over the weekend. Again, I'm trying to catch up myself. So, Jetlachenko on his way back to major junior hockey. Listen, hey, what are you going to do there? And Danny B is saying that, I guess when asked if this is indicative to where the Flyers' trajectory might be this season, that having Luchenko waste a season of his ELC with this might not be the best thing for the team, Danny B sort of deflected that and said, no, I'm going to I'll let the head coach answer that, but that's not really what we're thinking of. We're thinking about protecting the player and all that and making him feel well. And he made a couple comments about his participation in the World Juniors this year with Team Canada, which he could participate either way. It doesn't really matter if he was with major juniors or if he was a pro. It doesn't matter. It's just a matter of the Flyers letting him go do it. So he kind of deflected that question. But then when the same question was asked to him, but reversed, as in if they were winning, would Jetlachenko would he be sent back to the OHL? And then Breer kind of smiled and said, again, I know what you're trying to do there. You're trying to walk me into a hole or trap. I ain't doing it. But I definitely think it has a lot to do with that. I think that obviously the Flyers realize or have seen, even just through 9 games, or at that time, I guess 8 games, that the season's not going to go, I think, planned as way a lot of people expected or had expectations to have coming out of what happened last year. So sending Luchenko back to Guelph was a no-brainer. Let him have one more year, save one more year of his contract. I think we can kind of, all that other stuff about dominating in the OHL and being with his friends and his teammates, that's a bunch of crap. It's a bunch of filler. It's all about saving a year of his ELC for when they possibly could need it later on if they somehow get more talent on this team. But Jetlachenko on his way back to Guelph, probably for the rest of the season. Is there a pathway for him to come back to the Flyers at the end of the year? Don't forget, he has 5 games left of his tryout, and when Guelph's season ends at the end of April, or I think actually early April, there could be an overlap where he could, or is it March? It's March, I think. It could be an overlap, and he could come to the Flyers at the end of the season, maybe get a game or 2. Who knows? Or you could save them all for next year if he makes the team. So Jetlachenko sent back down to major juniors. And Cam York, upper body injury, and he's on the IL now for at least 2 weeks. They're saying that's a huge blow to this defensive core. That a very disappointment this year, because I think one of the things heading into the season was defensively, at least, this team was pretty good. And defensively, this team had a lot more promise coming off of last season than they are showing this year. And now losing Cam York for at least 2 weeks is what they're saying is not going to be good. He's definitely the team's best defender. He's the best defensive defenseman they have. He's probably second best offensive defenseman they have. And now he's going to be down for at least 2 weeks. So that's a huge blow to a team that really can't absorb those kinds of blows. They really can't. So that's terrible. The Flyers now currently, if you're playing along at home, which I am, they are now currently have $7.25 million of their salary cap currently sitting on IR, with now Cam York joining our boy, the Sasquatch, the unicorn, the man, the myth, the absolute legend, and the myth, Ryan Ellis. So Flyers now $7.25 million of salary cap sitting on IR, which is actually pretty good. I mean, there was times last year and the year before that number was in the 30s, like 30 million. So 7.25, yeah, I can live with that, I guess. But Cam York is going to be shelled for a little while. Flyers lose tonight 4-3, and I was going to do this tonight. I guess let's do it. All right, your turning point or key moment of the game for tonight's game, brought to you by the good folks over here at It's a Wrap Sports. I'm going to say turning point is what I'm going to go for, and that is the debut of Alexei Kovalev. I know this is a broad stroke. It's not necessarily game speak, but this, again, is a building block to the future. And, having open tryouts at this point, I guess we could say, for that second goaltending spot. And let's face it, starting goalie, The Flyers have 7 goalies in their system that they have high hopes for. Kovalsov being one of them. He's the first one to get his shot. Bjornsson, Viragin, they're going to get their opportunity here probably in the next year or two as the Flyers try to work this part out of the rebuild with the starting goalie. So a turning point for me tonight is the debut of Alexei Kovalsov to have an opportunity to maybe be the next guy, because guess what? We need the next guy. And tonight, Kovalsov stepped into the breach for that opportunity. So there you go. There's my turning point of tonight's game. Again, not necessarily game speak, but holistically speaking of the Flyers as a group. And that was brought to you, again, by the great folks here at It's a Wrap Sports. So please like, share, subscribe, ring the bells, spread the word, tell a friend, all those great things. Help us out, grow this network as we desperately want to do here on the program and on the network. Let's take a look at your scores around the NHL tonight. It is 1-0 heading into the second period. Avalanche over the Senators. Final in overtime, 3-2 Edmonton over the Red Wings. And final out in Jersey, 6-2 Devils over the Ducks. And there you have it, a very light night around the National Hockey League on this Sunday night as the Flyers find themselves 4-3 losers to the Montreal Canadiens. Drecky, bland, vanilla, not enough shots, not being able to enter the zone correctly type of offense through basically 3 3/4 worth of hockey. They turned it on at the end, and or 2 3/4 of hockey, sorry. 2 3/4 of periods of hockey. Turns it on at the end, just was not enough as they fall just short 4-3. But there is no half point for an almost win. There's no half point for battling back from a 3-goal deficit late. It all goes down as a loss and no points as the Flyers fail tonight to capitalize again on that momentum of beating the Minnesota Wild. And now let's take a look at the Clear the Ice stat pack. We're going to update you on the stats of the season so far for the Flyers. The Flyers were over 3 on the power play tonight, but a much improved power play, at least through 9 games, is on display this season. Flyers are 8 for 34 on the power play for the year for 23.5. Put it in some sort of context for some of you people out there who believe the Flyer power play is still struggling. The Flyers were 12.2 effective on their power play last year. So through 9 games, sample size be what it is, 25.6% or 25.8% effective, or 23.5% effective. I will take that any day. The league average, or if you're doing really good on the power play at the NHL level, you're in the 20s somewhere. So the Flyers are right now holding their own on the power play. It is much improved. It is faster. It is less predictable. Michkov adds another layer to that power play. Does it need some work? Yes. Does it go into sort of dry spells throughout the game that make you kind of shake your head? Absolutely. But it is much improved from a year ago. And for anybody out there to question that and say that it's not, I want to refer you to 12.2% effective versus 25.3 or 23.5%. I'll take the 23.5 any day of the week. On the PK, the Flyers are now 35 times shorthanded. They've killed 30 of those 35 penalties, 85.7. Flyers have scored 25 goals this year for 2.7 a game. They've given up 40 for 4.4. That's obviously not going to work either. The Flyers have registered 246 shots for 27.3 a game. They've given up 276 for 30.6. 0-1 in overtime, 1-0 in the shootout. They have 1 shootout goal. They have 1 shorthanded goal. Flyers have taken the puck away 50 times this year from their opponents for 5.5%. They've given it away, as I've already said this twice now. I'm going to say it again. This is my new RISP stat that I'm going to be following all year. The Flyers have given the puck away 131 times through 9 games for 14.5% a game. So the Flyers are giving it up, not percent, but 14.5 times a game. They're giving the puck away per game in their offensive zone or defensive zone 14.5 times a game. That's like averaging 14.5 turnovers a game. Imagine that. Flyers have also blocked 150 shots, 16.6 on the season, which is down. Flyers are usually a 20 shot blocking team a game, and it's down to 16-6. I guess Nick Seeler not being in the lineup affected that. We've always talked about Cam York now joining Ryan Ellis on the IR. And since the 2021-2022 season, the Flyers are 102 for 738 on the power play for 13.8%. So there's your Flyers stat pack here on the Clear the Ice program tonight. Again, brought to you by the great folks here at It's a Wrap Sports. Please like, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Like, subscribe us on our social media. We're streaming on multiple social media platforms, and we need it bad. We need it bad, man. The Flyers will now have a night off before they head up to Boston to play this. About to say the Celtics. So, yeah, that would be interesting, the Flyers and Celtics. But no, the Flyers will head to Boston on the 28th on Tuesday, or 29th on Soap Night. For the old heads out there who remember what Soap Night is. They'll play the Boston Bruins on the 29th up in Boston. As, I don't know. Boston's struggling a little bit, but is that the team that you're trying to pull yourself out of a slump playing the Bruins? We'll see. Urson should be back in net for the Flyers, and maybe they can get things rolling again on the road because this homestand or this mini homestand separated by a road game hasn't been really effective for them. As again, 2-5-1 now on the season for a putrid 2-6-1 for a putrid 5 points. But yeah, so there you have it, folks. It's down and dirty tonight. I'm not going to belabor the point. There's no, it's the score's not going to change for as long as I talk. So the Flyers are just, it's funny too because a lot of times, a lot of things I've heard so far this season is this is what they were supposed to be last year. And I guess when you have one of those anomaly years, you can't really kind of tell when that's going to happen. Obviously, the Flyers had their anomaly year last year, and now this is the team that they really are, which, again, and take that for what it is and, pull some positives, I guess, if you can out of that. But this is not a good hockey team. It really isn't, and that's just the reality of it all. They're struggling mightily in very key positions or key parts of the hockey game, goaltending, turnovers, offensive production, it's shots. I mean, their shots are down. These are four very major areas that this team is struggling heavily in. And good teams struggle in one or two areas from time to time. They don't struggle in four consistently. And that's what the Flyers are doing right now. It's not a slump. It's just who the Flyers are. They're a team full of role players with a superstar in the making in Matvei Michkov, but he cannot do it alone. He can't play goalie, he can't play defense, and he can't be on the ice 5 different times and play all the positions. He needs help. Danny B's got to find him help, and the help's not here. And I don't think the help is here, and I don't think they're going to develop into help for him. The Flyers are going to have to get creative at some point, or this is pretty much what this is going to be for the foreseeable future. But each day springs hope eternal, and hopefully tomorrow the Flyers can put this in the rear view and then concentrate on the Bruins. We get things kicked off tonight, and then we can get back on the win streak or win column, finish it up on Halloween, and head into November with a positive outlook. But that's going to wrap me up tonight, folks. I'm glad. Thank you for chiming in. Thank you for looking in. Please like and subscribe. It's a wrap. Tell your friends. Tell your friends' friends. Tell your friends' 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 friends. Give us a like everywhere. And I will be back tomorrow night with the final word with Matty B. Did not do a show tonight for obvious reasons. I was on the post game, so we're not going to do double dose of Matty B. Thought maybe we could roll the post game into a final word show, but nah. There's a lot to talk about tomorrow. We're going to talk about some Eagles as well. It's big win today. Huge win. Got to give the boys in green a lot of credit for today. That was big. That was big time. So we'll get into the final word tomorrow, talking about some World Series. Kick that dirt over the Yankee grave. And we'll also speak more about the Flyers and do some of our fun segments here that we usually do on the show. So tomorrow night around 9, be back for final word with Matty B. And don't forget, Sal G. That's right. It's coming November 4th, 7 p.m. The Wraparound with Sal G. Our newest show here on It's a Wrap, as we're now up to, I guess, 2 static shows and a bunch of post games. So we're growing every day, baby steps, but we're growing, and that's all that matters. Folks, you have yourself a great rest of your night and an even better tomorrow. We will talk tomorrow on the final word. Till then, in the immortal words of Mr. Gene Hart, good night and good hockey.